name's Sandy Norwood. I was born and raised and lived my entire life in Texas.
Okay.
So I'm a natural born Texan. I have had 3 amazing careers that I totally loved, and I'm very fortunate to have done that. I have 2 grown children, a boy and a girl, have made me very, very happy and very proud. And I am now semi-retired. I've had 1 double lung transplant that went into rejection, and now I'm waiting on the second. So I've been blessed more than once in many ways. I started out as a young woman in accounting.
Okay.
And hated every minute of it.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently, I was a natural born accountant. I spent 25 years in accounting, and then changed careers and became a funeral director, which is quite a leap.
Uh-huh.
But I worked at a funeral home, and the owner recognized that I had a caregiving talent, and he kind of groomed that and offered to send me to school to become a licensed funeral director in Balmer. I loved it.
Yeah.
And then from there, I went into tissue banking, which kind of was hand in hand. It's both dealing with the families at the time of death.
Mm-hmm.
And again, my background in funeral directing gave me a heads up and an advantage in that area. So I went into tissue banking, where we recovered bone and soft tissue for transplant.
Right.
And I was very successful at that. And then I was the director of my own tissue bank. And from there, began working with the organ banks. And I did public and private education, healthcare professionals, schools, anywhere where 2 people would listen, I would talk
Sure.
about organ and tissue donation. And I got so much out of that. It was amazing. What I felt as an accountant was, yes, it was fulfilling because I was good at it. However, I had no contact with outside that office, and I didn't have any effect on other people personally. And I didn't realize that was missing from my life until I had the opportunity to change careers. And I was so happy with that, because having someone die in your family is about 3 to 5 of the hardest days you will ever have. And as a funeral director, I had an opportunity to help them walk through those 3 or 5 days. And I felt if there was anything that I did to make that easier for them, then I was doing something really good. And it has come back to me in blessings 1,000-fold. My local pulmonologist had seen me through some really serious illnesses in the past. And after my transplant and I got home, he called me. And he said, "First, I want to congratulate you. You have done amazing. I followed your case, and it's just remarkable." But he said, "What I want to tell you is, since I've known you, you should have died 3 times. And you didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So what you need to hear is you better figure out what your Maker has planned for you on this earth and get with it."
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Well, I think I'm already doing it."
Right.
He said, "Really? What are you doing?" "Well, I've written a book about my journey. I still volunteer to educate with the organ bank. I speak anytime, anywhere, anyone will listen. And I mentor other people waiting. And they're so frightened because they're walking into something unknown. I had an advantage. I lived on both ends of that list. I knew what it was like on the other side, and I knew what I was getting into. So I wasn't as afraid.
Yeah.
So I think that is an incredible gift to be able to give to people who found themselves traveling that same journey. I think you choose your attitude every day. And I choose, I'd rather be happy than not. I can't change what's happening to me. So I try very, very hard not to dwell on what I can't change. I can only control what I can control. And that's my attitude. And the other thing is, I just learned years ago, I don't like to be around unhappy people.
Mm-mm.
And I just won't let them bring me down. So if I don't want to look at you and you're grumpy, why would you want to look at me? Why would you pay me any attention? And I guess I need the attention. So I'd rather be happy.
Sure.
And I choose that every day. The other thing is, when I had my transplant, I was almost at the end of my life, weeks away from dying. And then I got this incredible gift. And when I got my transplant, I was given the most amazing gift, and that was life.
Yeah.
And I had already accepted the fact that mine was about over. And having the background in organ and tissue, I knew 19 people die every day waiting.
Right.
And I knew I was in the upper bracket possibility of being one of those 19.
Right.
My age was against me. Actually, that was about the only thing against me because I was very healthy. But I would rather face things head on than not. I think if you don't, they just eat you up inside.
Mm-hmm.
So I accepted that. And then when I got the second chance at life, every day was a bonus and a blessing. And I said then, no matter how many days away this becomes, if I die that day, it's been worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have had a blessing. And I wanted to live every day to its fullest. And I did that not only for myself, but to honor my donor. She gave her life, not so that I could live, but because she lost hers, I did live. And so I'm so thankful that she made that decision and allowed me that blessing. So I had more than 3 years, extra
Yeah.
before I started running into this problem. And I have to go back there and say the same thing. If this happens, great. But nobody owes me this. So if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And I have had a blessing.